This morning. Now accused of killing her roommate 15 years ago, Anita Knutson was an 18-year-old attending Minot State in 2007 when she was found stabbed to death in her off-campus apartment.
34-year-old Nicole Rice is now charged with Knutson's death. The suspect was arrested at her workplace this week and is now being held in the Ward County Jail in Minot.
Serving to know that somebody is out there that murdered somebody. And in this case, there was not one person that had anything bad to say about Anita. So to me, this was a young girl with a great future that was taken away from her family way too soon.
Minot police have given no indication of a motive for the murder, nor have they said why they were able to make an arrest at this time.
We have new information this morning on a gruesome murder in the Twin Cities. Police are now identifying the woman who was burned to death at a St. Paul workplace as 44-year-old Kelly Gudermont. Her ex-boyfriend is now in jail for her murder. They were also co-workers and had known each other for years.
Police say Gudermont had a restraining order against Patrick Simmons after he said he held a loaded gun to her head. Court records also show he had previously been civilly committed and hospitalized for psychosis. New this morning, a death investigation underway in Rochester, Minnesota after a body was found in a snow pile outside of an elementary school. Police and investigators from the medical examiner's office spent the night outside of Gage Elementary School after the discovery late yesterday afternoon.
They say the body appears to have been there for some time, but police don't believe there is a threat to the general public because of this case. We have new information this morning on that knife attack at a Bismarck airport that we told you about earlier this week. It's raising questions about security after police say the assault suspect had tampered with an airport power supply first. Security footage shows the man turning off power in that airport Monday night, causing the backup generator to start.
An airport official says that the electrical infrastructure area is kept open and unlocked so first responders can get to it. Christopher Fonseca is in jail for assault of a police officer, reckless endangerment, and criminal mischief. Police allege he stabbed an officer who was responding to a disturbance. TSA employees and bystanders held the officer to get control of that suspect.
Court documents say following the arrest, Fonseca made comments about blowing up that airport with a can of WD-40. It's not clear why he was at the airport because he did not have a ticket to get on a plane. It is now 6:50 on this Thursday morning. That fast track forecast shows we're starting out below freezing right now, Nathan.
Yeah, Jordan, exactly right. Starting off sub-freezing, so may see some slippery spots out there from some of the snow melt we saw yesterday. Some roads, some sidewalks, driveways, all could be slippery at this point. Look at this beautiful look at our Grand Forks home of economy. Skycam, the moon right there in the center of the screen here. Clear skies up there in the northern valley. Seeing different conditions, though, across Minnesota at this hour. I'll get to that in just a couple seconds. 29 right now out the door this morning in Fargo. 30 for our friends in Moorhead, a light wind in Fargo. Now temperatures across the board, 20s and 30s in the southern valley. That white line you see there is the 32-degree line, so most everyone on either side of freezing at this hour, with Halleck, the cool spot, at 25, but right next door, Roseau at 36. The warm spot out the door this morning here at 6:51 on this Thursday. So look at this. We're seeing some dense fog in Lakes Country this morning. Elsewhere, things look good, but if you go into areas like Detroit Lakes and Fergus Falls, could see some areas with zero visibility thanks to some dense fog there in that location. So if you're an I-94 traveler or traveling around Detroit Lakes, Fergus Falls, Elbow Lake as well, use those low beams and really slow it down if you do encounter any of that dense fog. Satellite radar is clear, just as we saw there in Grand Forks. Watching for some snow in Winnipeg. This could bring some light precipitation to our northern Minnesota counties today, but really nothing too impactful for us. Look at this temperatures by, say, 9 o'clock, warming above freezing there across our North Dakota counties, with most of the sunshine today expected across North Dakota. Cloudy conditions continue across Minnesota. May even see some fog continuing around lunchtime as well, with those spotty showers up in the northern part of Minnesota. Again, minimal impacts expected, but temperatures 30s, 40s, maybe even some 50s by 4 o'clock into far southeastern North Dakota, so more good melting expected today. And again, still could see a few spotty lingering rain showers there in northern Minnesota, but the northwest wind along with those clouds keeps our temperatures a bit cooler today than what we saw yesterday. And by 10 p.m. tonight, we're falling to back below freezing, so any melting we see today again looks to refreeze, which is again great news for potential flood conditions here across the valley. So of course in Fargo today, 38 degrees. That high temperature, we're warm, we're seeing some melting. Just watching out for some clouds and some showers in northern Minnesota.
Yeah, we definitely have some things to watch out for, but enjoy the warmer weather today.
Exactly.
Nathan, thank you.
Time now is 6:53. A teenage boy is in critical condition after a snowmobile collided with a pickup. The Minnesota State Patrol says the 14-year-old was hit by a pickup while crossing Highway 59 in Red Lake County Monday. The pickup driver was not hurt.
A Minneapolis man who lost an eye when he was hit by a projectile fired by police during protests that followed the George Floyd killing will get a $2.4 million settlement. Soren Stevenson was in a large group of people near an interstate on-ramp when he was hurt on May 31st, 2020. He says he was not rioting or disobeying police at the time, and he believes a SWAT officer fired directly at his face. This week's warmer weather has given us a nice taste of spring, but with that warm-up comes reminders to prep your homes for the change of seasons as well.
The Valley Today's JC Dodd joins us live this morning with the to-do list as the snow melts and the ground begins to thaw. Good morning, JC.
Good morning, Phoenix. Jordan. I'm here in a neighborhood in South Fargo where you can start to see that snow melt is just the beginning during this mid-March thaw that we're seeing. And I spoke with local plumbers and they say now is the time. It's the time to start prepping your homes and your basements for the snow melt that we're seeing now to potentially end up in your homes and in your basement. So a local plumber gave me 3 things that you're going to want to look out for. The number one at the top of the list and probably at the top of your mind, check your sump pumps. Now a sump pump is a system of valves used to remove water from a basement, and you'll want to check and make sure it's properly placed, test it out, and make sure it's working before we get too much of this snow melt out here. Now second on the list, clean your backwater valves. It's the city sewer system gets backed up. That backwater valve will close and protect your basement from any water damage. And lastly, you want to test your water hydrants. We had a really cold winter, so they could have burst. So make sure they're up running properly. So he explained the importance of getting all of these things done now instead of waiting until later.
If those valves are in the wrong position and you're trying to pump outside and there's ice in those pipes, the plumbing system for the sump pump will come apart and create property damage inside the home.
Now, he told me once the spring thaw really gets going, they could see up to 50 calls a day for help with water damage and flooding in people's basements. So you'll want to check and make sure all of those things are done while you can now, while the weather is nice, and just make sure you get out there and do it.
Check it now to save money later. JC Dodd reporting live this morning. Thank you. It is now 6:55. A Grand Forks man will be sentenced in June after changing his plea to guilty in a child sexual abuse case. 28-year-old Joseph Case is accused of sexually assaulting an 8-year-old. Court documents say that he admitted to inappropriately touching the girl 3 separate times last year.
2 burglary suspects are in jail after Grand Forks police say their K-9 team tracked them down. A homeowner called police around 7 Tuesday night after confronting 2 strangers on their property. The 2 men ran off but were tracked down by the apartment 3 blocks away. Colin Edwards and Jacob Lawson, both Grand Forks, are charged with burglary. A couple from Makeville, North Dakota, says that they are stuck in Ukraine. Brent and Anna Huso went to visit the family there early last month. Once the bombings began 3 weeks ago, the family evacuated and separated. They finally reunited in western Ukraine. But then they learned that Anna's brother-in-law died from heart failure.
And now Anna's mother is sick and they cannot leave Ukraine until she is better. A Facebook page named Huso Ukrainian Family Relief Fund is posting updates from the family along with information on how to donate. We have a link to that on our website, valleynewslive.com. Fake IDs and underage drinking, they're issues found across the country, and Fargo is no exception. Fargo PD and the city's Liquor Control Board are now promoting ID scanners to help catch kids in the act. There have been a number of failed compliance checks recently.
Craven Fargo is one of those businesses that's been hit with the penalty after failing the check. General Manager Eric Reinhardt was at the Liquor Control Board meeting to explain the situation. He says they're going to be using new technology to help catch fake IDs, which will take the pressure off their servers. When property values go up, so do taxes. And that's about to happen to 14,000 homeowners in Fargo. The city's latest reassessment is boosting property values by 5 to even 10%.
The exact increase of the city portion of your tax bill won't be known until the mill levy for the next year is set. That happens in September. If you would like to challenge your property valuation increase, you need to contact the Fargo City Assessor. In our consumer alert this morning, millions of bottles of Airborne gummies are being recalled due to an issue with the containers. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says the company behind Airborne has received 70 reports of the cap or seal popping off the bottles. 18 people have even reported minor injuries. One person had an eye injury that needed medical attention.
The company RB Health is pulling more than 3 million Airborne gummy bottles off the shelves. Now, if you have a bottle that's already been opened, it's not subjected to this recall, as it would have had to been released any of that pressure buildup and does not present an injury hazard. Netflix is going after customers who share their passwords and may make them pay up. One feature would have subscribers add sub-accounts to their account. The people who don't live there would come and with the separate logins and those profiles.
Netflix is also testing a feature where users can transfer their profile to a new account or make it a sub-account. The new features are being tested in Chile, Costa Rica, and Peru over the next few weeks. Netflix says it wants to understand how the new setup would work before they roll it out globally. Carbon monoxide detectors will be available for free for people who can't afford them, thanks to a donation from a Minnesota family. Churches United will give 200 detectors for homes in the Fargo-Moorhead area.
Distribution will begin as early as next week. Both Dorothy Day Food Pantry locations, William and Alex Schreck, donated the detectors in memory of their son and cousin who died of carbon monoxide poisoning.
Well, get ready to celebrate. Today is a day that many people revel in their Irish heritage. It's St. Patrick's Day. About 33 million Americans self-identify as being Irish. That's 5 times the number of people who actually live in Ireland.
The traditional wearing of green, well, it's going to pick up again this year with easing of many of those COVID restrictions.
And hopefully the drinking and eating of things that are green
as
well today.
I never stopped celebrating. So.
Yeah, right. You can always celebrate at home. The Today Show and CBS Mornings are just about to start, but the Valley Today continues. Find us on the CW. Have a great day, everyone.